Five Nights at Freddy's, at its core, is a horror game that meshes jump scares with deeply buried lore. But as more games were released, it was shown how difficult the hardest challenges actually were. These modes, nicknamed by the community as max modes, are true tests of skill that will push you to your limits. The first max mode in the mainline series of games is 420 mode in the first game, where all 4 animatronics are set to their max difficulty of 20. This is the first video in a series of videos that will serve as guides for the mainline FNAF games and their max modes, along with the strategies I used for each mode. But in this video, we're going to start off with the first game in the series, Five Nights at Freddy's. In Five Nights at Freddy's, you are the new night guard for Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, tasked with watching the restaurant's mascot animatronics for 5 nights, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy using the camera monitor. You have to survive the whole night, 12 AM to 6 AM, while the animatronics progress toward your office. And if they get into your office, they'll jump scare you. To prevent this, you have lights on either side of your office to check if any of them are at your doors, but you can close to prevent them from getting in. To prevent you from keeping the doors closed the whole night, power slowly drains throughout the night. If anything you do uses power, so you have to manage it throughout the night. If the power reaches 0, it causes a blackout. You can survive in this phase, but it's RNG whether or not Freddy is nice to you and gives you more time. All the animatronics will start on the stage and make their way toward your office. All the animatronics move using the movement opportunity system, which is pretty universal throughout all the main games. Let's use Bonnie as an example. Every about 5 seconds, Bonnie will have an opportunity to move. On each night, each animatronic has a given AI value, and every time they have a movement opportunity, the game will generate a random number between 1 and 20 and compare it to the animatronic's AI value. And if the animatronic's AI value is greater than or equal to the random number, the animatronic will move. This means on the custom night, if Bonnie's AI value is set to 10, that means every 4.97 seconds, Bonnie has more or less a 50% chance to move. If the random number is 11, he will fail his movement. If it's 8, however, he will succeed his movement, and if his AI value is set to 20, he will succeed every movement opportunity and move every 5 seconds. Bonnie can take a couple routes to your office, but will eventually take the left hallway to your left door. When you see him at the door with the light, you can close the door to prevent him from entering your office. When Bonnie's at the door, if he rolls a successful movement, you will not be able to close the door, and the next time you flip up the camera, he'll jump scare you. This goes for Chica too. If he rolls a successful movement when the door is closed, he will leave and go back to the dining area. Chica works almost the same as Bonnie. She also moves using the MO system, but takes a different path to your office and also has a movement opportunity about every 5 seconds. She will take the right hall instead of the left hall and will eventually reach your right door. You can deal with her the same way as Bonnie. If you hear pots and pans banging in the office, that means Chica's in the kitchen. She can go through the kitchen on her way to your office, which means you can save a little power by not having to check the right door if you hear Chica in the kitchen. Foxy, unlike the others, isn't on the stage, but in Pirate Cove. Foxy still uses the MO system, but will always fail his movements if you're on the cameras when he tries to move every 5 seconds. Now this is a common misconception. I do mean on the cameras and not just on his camera. As long as you're on the cameras, whenever Foxy has a movement opportunity, he will always fail, whether or not it's his camera. This will come in handy for the strategy later. Foxy has 4 stages. 1 is when he's in Pirate's Cove, 2 is when he's slightly peeking out, 3 is when he's outside of Pirate's Cove, and stage 4 is when he's no longer on the camera. If Foxy succeeds a movement opportunity when the cameras are not up, he will advance a stage. If he's at stage 4 and you look at the left hall, you'll see Foxy running down the hall to your office. When this happens, if you don't close the door immediately, Foxy will jump scare you. If you don't look at the left hall, Foxy will still jump scare you or bang on your left door after 25 seconds, so you have to pull up the cameras to stop Foxy throughout the night. Okay, finally, let's move on to Freddy. Freddy has a movement opportunity every 3 or so seconds. Freddy will always fail his movements if you're watching him on the cameras. Whenever Freddy succeeds a movement opportunity, he will laugh and move towards your office. Freddy will move down the right hall like Chica, but if he succeeds a movement at the east hall corner, he will not appear outside your right door. Instead, if the door is open, he'll just enter your office and jump scare you. If the door is closed and he succeeds a movement, he will not go back to the stage like Bonnie and Chica, but to the east hall. Now we can move on to the strategy I used and how to beat the max mode of Five Nights at Freddy's 420 mode. One of the staples of the FNAF series is its custom nights. These are nights that you can customize and change the animatronics AI value to whatever you want. So after I beat the first 6 nights, it was time for the custom night in 420 mode, which was pretty easy. It only took me 4 attempts to beat it. I used the same strategy for all 6 nights and 420 mode. I would check both lights, flip up the cameras, which I didn't move from the east hall corner, so when Freddy got to that camera, he'd be stalled for the rest of the night as long as I kept flipping up the cams. If Bonnie or Chica were at either of the doors when I checked them, I'd close the door, check the other door, then flip up the cameras for a second so Freddy and Foxy would be stalled at the same time. Then I'd flip down the cameras again and repeat the cycle. This strategy keeps both Freddy and Foxy stalled as long as you keep checking the cameras frequently enough, while keeping Bonnie and Chica out, with also managing enough power to get through the night most of the time without a blackout. One other thing I wanted to point out is that Chica takes precedence over Freddy in the East Hall. So when you see Freddy in the East Hall, but then flip up the cams again and Chica's there, but not Freddy, if you didn't hear Freddy laugh, this means that they're both there, but the game prioritizes showing Chica on the cams over Freddy. And after using this strategy, I beat 420 mode. Okay, I'm gonna run out of power. Come on, dude. Come on. Yes, dude. I beat 420 mode. Okay. Oh, is that like the 5th attempt? Okay, but I did it. Wow, okay. And that's the easiest of the max modes. Okay, there we go. 3 stars. Okay. And that concludes this video. If you guys enjoyed, please consider subscribing. No pressure though. I'll leave the raw proof of me beating 420 in the description, as well as the sources for any information that I used in this video. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching.